Hey folks, this is JW. So I wanted to do just kind of a little bit of a review on a couple of books. They kind of go together. And these are the official NRA guide to firearms assembly. We have one for rifles and shotguns, pistols, and revolvers. These are pretty thick books. The rifles and shotguns is about 400 pages, and the pistols and revolvers 352 pages. So I really like these books. Now, I have a bunch of other books that I've been kind of gathering and collecting since I started my journey in learning how to be a gunsmith and being an armorer. And so these books are really nice, especially if you're needing to get an exploded view. Let's see if you can see it here. Just different guns. No, not every gun is in here. But a lot of your more popular weapons are firearms. I don't even know how many guns are listed, but if you look at the contents, it covers everything from Allen and Thurber, Astra, Ballister, Beretta, Bergman, Bernadelli, Browning, a lot of Browning stuff, Charter Arms, Colt, a lot of Colt, Crossman, CZ, Dan Wesson, Derringer, Dreiss, Enfield, Irma, Fine, Weckabow. I don't know if I said that one right. French model, Fromer, Gilicenti, Glock, Heinel, Schmeisser, Hammerly, H&R, which I believe is Harrington and Richardson, Heckler and Koch, High Standard, Hungarian model, an IJ model, a Japanese Type 14, Type 26, Type 20, or 94. I'm not familiar with those. Carr, Kimber, Lottie, LaFrancaise. Of course, I'm butchering some of these names, so don't hold that against me. Oh, let's see. Lilput, Luger, Magnum, Makarov, Mauser, Ort, geez. That's a scary word. Para-Ordnance, Polish Radom, Remington, Rossi, Ruger, Sauer. I guess Sauer may be different than... So it says Sauer, Savage, Sig, and Sig Sauer. I'm not 100% sure if Sig Sauer or Sauer are part of the same. I haven't got that far in my learnings. Smith & Wesson, a bunch of Smith & Wesson models. Star, Steyr, Stoger, Taurus, Tokarev, unique military and police pistol, U.S. model, Walther, Webley, Whitney. So that's pretty much what the pistols and revolvers cover. Definitely what I've found is that the more I learn about gunsmithing, the more I realize that there's no possible way for me to just 100% recall every firearm there is, even if I've studied on it. But there's a lot of firearms that I'll probably never touch, probably never even study, unless I'm bored and I just want to, dig it up and look it up. The thing about being a good armorer or gunsmith just depends on what you want to do. I'm building a foundation going to modern gun school. That's this big binder here, which I just started. And I'm also taking some courses through AGI on some armor stuff and studying that as well. And so the more that you learn, the more that you realize that it's not really possible to know everything, be all knowing as a gunsmith or even as an armor, which is not as in depth as a gunsmith. The thing is that having a good library, a resource library of books, like some other books that I have, the Book of Glock, that's just one. I mean, I've got a bunch of old Glock armors manuals. This is a copy of the Department of Defense's M16 Maintenance and Repair Manual. This is all pretty much known as a TM9-1005-319 23 and then so this is a really good book in regards to M16s, M4s, and stuff like that. A lot of information in here. I also have a ton of other M16, M4, AR-15 style books. I mean, I've probably got at least, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 maybe, not counting the armor's manuals that I've collected as well. And what I usually do with armor's manuals is I print stuff out and I put it in a binder. So that kind of gives me the ability to, find things. But folks, the thing is that it's not necessarily being all-knowing on every known firearm to mankind, but being able to find those resources, having the basics and the fundamentals that you've learned and practiced down. And so that way, when you are looking at a firearm that you're not familiar with, you have resources that you can look for. And if you find diagrams on the internet that you may not have, print them off and put them in your binder and categorize it. And that way you have it for when you need it. Right now, gunsmithing and armor stuff is mainly a hobby for me. I'm in the learning process. I have another career that I do, and that's my cat. I have another career that I work full time, so I'm learning this on the side, and having these resources available, for me to, like, here's my rifles and shotguns. This is a really nice book. It's got a gallery. It's got tons. Seiko centerfire bolt action. Like I said, some of these you may never work on. Or there may be that first time. Somebody brings something to you. You might be, I don't know, you might be working in a pawn shop, a gun shop that has used guns. Whatever that may be, you may have your own private business. Having these resources are extremely important. I know, realistically, there's just no way I'm going to be able to remember every different model there is. I'm already forgetful as it is. So once you learn the fundamentals of how most general firearms work, you don't have to take a class for every different model or brand out there, because there's a lot of commonalities between a good majority of the modern firearms. Now, you start getting into older war era antique weapons, and you never know what you're going to come across. So having all the resources that you can, being really good at researching, digging into finding, parts manuals and diagrams and things like that. I would encourage you to print them off and save them. Internet's nice, but I like having printed material at my fingertips, because if I get a gun that I'm not familiar with, and maybe I want to purchase, like let's look here. Okay, a Ruger Model 1022 carbine. I used to have this gun. I don't have one currently. I miss having it. It was a nice 22 rifle. But this gives you parts diagrams. It tells you how to disassemble the firearm. It just, gives you diagrams of the parts. It gives you a list of the parts and what they're called. And you can always, if you have any personal notes or tips or tricks, you can always just place it inside the book. So that way, the next time you look it up, you've got those notes there. Or you can print them off, put them in a binder, whatever you want to do. Going off of some of the other things that I've seen from other YouTubers, especially in the gunsmithing world, you can't have too many books on guns. You can't have too many guns. So if you're going to be a gunsmith for whatever reason, in whatever capacity, if you're only going to work on Glocks and nothing else ever, then get all the Glock information that you can. And there's a lot of it out there. There's what the official Glock armor courses teach you, and of course they frown on, from the way I understand it, they kind of frown on a lot of the customization and the polishing of different parts and stuff like that. They don't necessarily teach that that's the right way to do it, but there is a lot of information out there beyond the Glock company. Now, I think going to the Glock Armor School and even the Advanced Armor School out in Smyrna, Georgia, is a good idea. It's on my agenda. But if all you're going to do is work on Glocks, then learn everything that you can. AGI's got an amazing Glocksmith course. It's kind of expensive, but it's really good and very informative. And you may learn things like they have a course called How to Make Your Glocks Rock. And this is not really a push for AGI, but, hey, I've got that DVD and I like it. I mean, there's a lot of good information in there that helps me. And I've carried Glocks for years, and I've owned a bunch of Glocks, and I've learned things through that have helped me in my growth and my learning process in gunsmithing and armoring. Now, gunsmithing is a little different than armoring, where learning to be a gunsmith, something that I've encountered with MGS is I'm learning how to do some woodworking, working on stocks. I'm learning some metalworking. I'm learning all sorts of different things, mechanical things, heat treating. There's so many different things that fall into the gunsmithing category. But on a practical basis, the majority of what I have done and probably will do in the future is more in the lines of being an armorer, with a foundation of gunsmithing to build that upon. I feel like going through modern gun school is going to give me the foundation, and then I can kind of build upon that, taking armorers courses and just building things how I want to do it as far as my journey in this. Not everybody has to do everything the same way. Of course, there's always going to be people that are, going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people, you're doing it wrong. You shouldn't go to an online or a correspondence gun school. They're gonna say all sorts of negative things. But at the end of the day, folks, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care if you agree with it or not. It doesn't make a difference to me whatsoever. You can hate me, and it won't change a thing in my life. In fact, I probably won't even know about it unless you send me a message and say that you hate me. And if you do that, that's fine. It's not going to bother me. I am going to learn how I want to learn. I'm going to follow the path that I want to travel, regardless of what anybody else thinks or says. So there are some good training schools out there. There's Modern Gun School, there's AGI, there's Sonora Desert Institute. If you're really struggling on a financial level and you just want to get a little bit of, more information, try Penn Foster. You know, it can't hurt to learn something. Will it teach you as much as some of the others? Probably not. I think Modern Gun School, it was a good fit for me, but it's not necessarily for everybody. There's other people that are going to do courses with AGI and Sonoran Desert Institute. So do what makes you happy. Follow your heart. Follow your path. Don't worry about what other people think or say. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. And get all the books you can. And I'm getting a collection. I'm just starting. I'm just a baby in all this. You know, I've been through Smith & Wesson's M&P Armorers course a handful of years ago and learned a bunch because that was the firearm that I carried on a federal contract. And yeah, I learned a bunch and I enjoyed the class. It was good information, got a nice certificate. You just got to keep learning, got to keep moving, got to keep going. Folks, this is JW, Ronin 785. I know I'm rambling, but I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself learning. I'm 55 years old, and I'm learning new things. This old dog is learning new tricks. We'll see you. Peace.